when I hear the word nature, one of the places that my mind naturally goes is astrology, because I feel like that's kind of part of your nature. So looking at that, I like for me, my nature is to be aggressive. My nature is to be passionate. My nature is to be fiery, and yeah. So in that sense, I wonder if those things about us are kind of already,
Like
you know,
written in the
Like
planet,
yeah,
fixed.
that's
kind of.
already set in stone, or is that,
Yeah.
do you think that I embody those things because I've gone through life like knowing that this is how a Leo is supposed to be type of thing, or is this truly my nature? I
I
don't
think
know.
you can make a decision. Yeah, it's not
You
like
do?
stuff. Yeah, I think like as you go through time, you can like learn different stuff. Because if your mom isn't a Leo, then you know what I'm saying, she's raising you, so
Yeah.
But it also plays
maybe
a
a
part
little bit
into,
of that too.
yeah, like
Yeah.
it's like that's the nurture part of it. But I do feel like it's a lot of similarities within the things that zodiac signs specific or zodiac signs themselves like portray within each one. You know, like I'm a Virgo, so we're usually perfectionists, usually like high in anxiety, and like we're one way or other. You know, and a lot of the Virgos I meet, even if it's not in the same nurture, it's the same nature. They still exhibit the same main characteristics.
Underlying nature.
Yeah, like oh, okay, I do that too, but I do it in a different way, and that's like their main thing. Like my assistant, she's a Virgo, and like she literally does stuff either that I've grown out of or things that I kind of just do by myself, if that makes sense. And it's just like I can see how we're similar, but even since it's still difference in between that. Yeah.
Okay. I think you and me are the only parents up here, so I'm gonna speak a little bit to that, to the nurture aspect, with having a baby. Do you guys think that, I don't know, the experience? How important is the experience with your parents or your childhood, the environment that you get from young, from being a baby, the nurture that you receive or don't receive?
I feel like that's extremely important because I feel like your family around you kind of shows you what the definition of things. Like, what does it mean to show love? What does it mean to show anger? What does it mean to, like, just to understand things more or less? So, if, and I used this example earlier, or even if not even like our parent, or let's say you have two twins, right? Identical twins, and they, one goes to a regular boarding school. There's this a boarding school away from home, just there. They've been going there since they were 3 years old. It's one of those boarding schools. And another kid went to a military school. So they're probably still going to have things that are like very similar, just well actually because they're twins, because there's certain things in your nature, like you know,
Genetically,
like
yeah.
that's why a lot of people when they are adopted they want to go back and find their family, want to find, because some things that they do just don't make sense to them. But their nurture is going to be completely different, because how one child reacts to an aggressive situation and how the other child reacts is going to be different, because one is a military minded child and one is just, you know, just been in a secluded kind of environment. So I feel like it does play a huge part in understanding what makes sense to you, but it doesn't have to like mean,
Like you're not stuck that way.
yeah.
It's interesting that you brought up the topic of being adopted. I was actually adopted and raised by a different family member. And during that time, they told me, "You come from this, you'll be that." And then at 18, I decided, you know what, I'm gonna venture out and find my parents and see who these individuals were that the other family member was telling me about this whole time. So in that, I rediscovered an aspect of myself. You see what I'm saying? Like, wow, this person looks like me and they interact like this and they think this way. And it actually healed something within myself.
Yeah.
It unlocked something within myself also. And then it just, you know, it was interesting because some of my siblings didn't take that journey. They didn't take time out their lives to go and journey out and find out that other aspect of their life. So it's like a piece of the puzzle is missing.
Yeah.
But I was able to put that piece in there. And then it's back to your point that, you know, you start discovering certain things about yourself. And it is a piece of that nature is there. You know what I mean? The way you think and things of that
Think all
nature
about
that you
stuff.
thought was missing and whatnot.
Even to
Yeah.
the slightest extent, like a laugh. You know, you because for me, I'm very close with my mom, my grandma. I don't really talk to a lot of my other family members, so I don't always know what we have in commonality. But when I go to family reunions and stuff, and I run into my cousins, and we're out playing spades, and somebody say something funny, we got the same laugh. Me and my mama and one of my cousins got the same exact laugh, and for me, it was just like, that's who we y'all just learn that,
That's
or
very
is that
cool.
just, you know?
The natural.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a part of it. It's just it's within us, and you know that's the same thing with like tribal stuff as well. In a sense, like even for me, I'm Native American, so I know that there are things that I don't know about my ancestors that I can feel that I represent me or that stand for me, whether it's the way I think about something or the way like even in the sense like my family mindset or my leadership mindset. I feel that like comes from a tribal ancestry that I may not know too much about, and I can just feel it. I can feel that it's something that I need to know that I don't know. That's a part of me. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it's ways to, like you said, like unlocking that and putting those pieces to the puzzle so you can understand yourself so much more. Because all of it's about self in reality, like being you, to be a reflection of somebody else, to be able to understand and close the gaps. Like.
Kind of along the same sense of the nature versus nurture, I also wanted to talk about survival versus love, because I think that there's a significant difference in how people present when they were raised off love and raised off of survival.
What do you mean by survival versus love?
Oh, okay, yeah, I can go into it for sure. So even the word nurture, I think of it as like caring, giving, like motherly type of tendencies, right? So I know that when I was growing up, I received a lot of nurture. I received a lot of love. That's pretty much like the embodiment of my mother. So now when I go out into the world, I carry myself in a certain way. Like I was just joking with you earlier, like, oh, I'm a lady. Like, but that's very much how my mother is, right? And the nurture and love that I've received. So I think because of that, I have like a pretty good head on my shoulders and emotional intelligence, things like that. But some people had a very different upbringing and a very different experience. And rather than receiving, you know, maybe outpourings of love, their life was filled with struggle of survival. Yeah.
Oh, so you're saying like as opposed to that.
And how it affects us differently. Yeah.
That's crazy because, I mean, even survival can be done in a way where it's out of love. Like they're trying to train you because they know it's hard, you know what I mean?
It can be.
You may not understand.
But it can also be,
Yeah.
there's just, I mean,
can be
I
damaging,
think when
yeah.
you're growing up too, especially if you're like somewhat in a bubble, like you just think everyone has the same life and everyone grows up in this safe family and this, you know, healthy thing. But some situations are not that at all. Some situations are very volatile. Some situations are very like filled with physical abuse and filled with terror and just different things. So in that sense, even the way that your brain develops is going to be different. The way that you look at the world is going to be different. So now instead of like how I'm open with everyone, I'm like, oh, I'd like to meet you. I'd like to get to know you. Like if I'm on survival, it's about me.
That's such a weird topic because like I don't like when I see anytime I see verses, I automatically start thinking like, how can I find the similarities between those two? You said survival versus love, but I think love is something that you can show by teaching someone how to survive. So it's like survival can be done in a proper way. It's not to just be neglected as an opposite.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Or
right,
the
right.
loser.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Because even like, again, with me having a son, there's so much of like, in my mind, things that I want to teach him that are ultimately for his survival. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
But it's coupled with love.
But with
you know?
it's with
not
love,
the
yeah.
absence.
So,
I think some people straight up have the absence though.
Yeah, and that's when it's like, that's when it's just, there's no love, you know? And then it's like, what are you doing it for? I think there's other reasons other than survival. Now it's like personal gain, you know, what that person may want to mold you into being for their own reasons. And there's no love in that, but,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. And it all spawns from survival. Because again, ultimately, it's like what I got to do to preserve myself.
Even with your child, like you were saying, like it's not like being in survival mode, but thinking and having the knowledge of the things that you've already been through that you don't want your child to go through. Like for me growing up, my mom has always told me, don't be me, be better than me. And I think that she's done a good job of allowing me to understand what it looks like to have to survive, but not to be in the situations where like I have to experience that to survive. You know what I'm saying? I feel like she's done a really great. I think the world now has put me more in a survival-ish mode or understanding what my survival mode is. Because for me, it's like I said, it's like without love. You know, usually when I feel uncomfortable, when I feel uneasy, when I feel like, you know, like when I just feel like I have to protect myself, I'll be in survival mode. I'll stay to myself, or I'll just, I don't know. My survival mode is weird because it's like I'll still be me, but it's just like the
Your
way
mentality is
it's
different.
completely
Yeah,
different.
'cause
Like
something now is like
it's like
unlocked and the switch is flipped.
yeah, and it's like, okay, cool, I'm gonna present myself the same way, but it's like the song lyrics that you read. It's like the leopard spots and the tiger stripes. Like that's it's still the animal that it is at the end of the day, and it has to survive. It has to do these things. It
Yeah.
has to kill to survive. It has to do this. So it's just like just recognizing I lost my whole little.
No, that was a good point though. It's just doing what it has to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had wrote down a little bit earlier when I was taking my notes. Survival is triggered when love is absent. Survival mode is protecting yourself despite what you feel. Love is freedom, and most people can't experience that because they're stuck in survival mode. A lot of us, even like subconsciously, have been damaged to not even understand that we're walking in a survival mode. A lot of people have a tendency to be like reactive or even whether that's with anger or whether that's with sadness, even in an example, it's like being in a relationship. And it's like not healing from your previous relationship and walking into the next one into survival mode. You're still going into the next relationship with the same defenses, the same insecurities, the same uncertainty that you did with the last one. That's why if you just hop into a rebound, you're going to end up in the same situation because you're going on in survival mode. When you're in a relationship with somebody, you're supposed to do like with your child, you're supposed to love them and show them how to survive within it versus putting them in a situation to have to survive.
It's interesting that you brought that topic up because I was having a conversation with a young lady earlier today. She was doing my hair, and she was describing some of the people that she's dealing with and whatnot. And the new dude that she's dealing with is basically telling her, "Hey, it's cool. You could be comfortable with me. Let your guard down." And she's like, "No, I ain't let my guard down." You know what I mean?
You saw my face? I'm like, that's a red flag.
And she was telling me this because she already stated that they was intimate. So
you already unlocked a certain part of yourself, but you
Yes.
can't let the other part of
some of
yourself
your
be.
most sacred pieces of yourself has already been unlocked to this person, but you're not going to give them intimacy, cuddling, things of that nature that would inevitably let your guard down. But they've already been inside your womb. So I couldn't follow that train of thought, that confusion there. So it goes back to that point of the lack of love and sheer survival. But how do you get somebody else wrapped up in your mix? How do you welcome somebody into your ball of confusion? You know what I mean?
But that's a part of being in survival mode. You think that you're doing what you need to do to get yourself out of that. You know what I'm saying? Which unfortunately, and it's a part of insanity that we all have, is doing what you already did before because also you're comfortable with it.
Yeah.
You know what
cycle,
I'm saying?
yeah.
So, but in reality, like, it's about how you, again, viewing yourself. She needs to look at herself and recognize that, you know what I'm saying, maybe I'm not uncomfortable because he did this or he didn't show me this. Maybe because I'm uncomfortable because I've gone through some stuff with some people and I need to actually pull myself back all the way. But that's a very hard thing to, like, recognize because that's kind of like stepping outside of yourself and viewing the whole situation like, dang, like you said, like I already gave myself to him. What's the big deal for me to open up and say, that's how I am. Like I keep it real 100%. If I'm gonna do this with you, then I'm gonna go ahead and talk about how I feel because I obviously I trust you enough to give my body to you. I'm gonna go ahead and get it off my chest, and you're gonna be here for it too, cause But again, I think it's just a recognition of like self in a sense, and if she actually recognized that she's not doing this because she actually wants to be in a relationship, she's trying to do this to kind of fill a void essentially
with the sex, but the lack of intimacy. So what are you really having? It's like
you're not
animalistic.
keeping yourself safe at all.
I believe to truly be in love is to truly be vulnerable with someone.
Yeah.
That is the essence of love. You know what I mean? That purity that you get from your parent, or that purity that you get from someone that you are in love with. It comes with the piece of being naive a little bit and vulnerable.
But do you have to like? I still think she should still have her guard up though.
No, most definitely, because you further out, we continued the conversation, and she shared that she was married for 7 years. It was infidelities and things of that nature. So you can imagine how the past, foresees the future. So that's where the guard comes from. You know what I mean? But
yeah, I have so many follow-up thoughts, so I'm gonna lose track of them. But I think that is a powerful thing because we hear that all the time. Like, oh, people have their guard up. How are you gonna be in a new relationship? But we have to understand what's behind all of that. So now hearing she was married for 7 years and all these other things, it's like it does a lot to someone when your whole perspective is shattered and shifted. So it does a lot to your ability to trust. Not even saying like consciously making the decision like I want to trust or I don't want to trust. Like your brain now will not allow you to, because what you once thought was real, now you understand is not real. So it really can do a number on
But I
you.
feel like that's a part of like setting boundaries when stepping into new things with new people. You have to give people like reasons for you to trust them, if that makes sense. Like this boundary, like I'm setting, like even with like, even if for her to get comfortable, or even if this, okay, like let's put this in place, this could not be a relationship where she wants it to be more than just, you know what I'm saying, she's just dealing with this guy and she wants to keep her guard up and this is how she wants to give it, but she wants the actual relationship part of it is kind of like, you have to set things in step for it to be like goals. You know what I'm saying? Even with your boundaries, like, okay, cool, we're not here yet. I don't feel comfortable expressing this with you because of the things that I've been through. But you know what I'm saying? If you do these things, or if you're working on these things, or if you show me these things, then I can unlock that. You know what I'm saying? It's not just about like, oh, you got your guard up, why? Or I'm gonna just have my guard up. If you're gonna deal with somebody, I feel like that if you're in the place of like in the survival mode and you know that you're trying to heal from something, then you should put things in place in order to actually help yourself heal. Because if your brain's going to trick you and think that everything they're doing is this, that, and the third, because so and so did this to me, then you
you
have to
can't
ask
win.
yourself, exactly.
Yeah.
So now you have to ask yourself, what can they do in order for you to be able to, one, forgive and forget the person that did it to you to begin with, and then allow this person to actually do what they're trying to do and what want them to do, type of deal. But then again, she gotta want that too, you know, because I was like, yeah.
Yeah, where's she at? She need to listen to this.
Yeah,
See, I told her about it. She said she's gonna check it out. She said she's
yeah,
gonna check it
yeah.
out.
All love, sis.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay, so another follow-up question. Intimacy is. Do you think intimacy or the desire or need for intimacy is part of human nature?
Yeah. It actually is like literally it's a part of like one of the 50 traits of human nature is like, I wrote it down, is need. And it says humans are born with need for emotional and physical needs that they must regulate or they'll have a decline. So, you know what I'm saying? It may not have to be, you know what I'm saying, sexual intimacy, but a hug, a touch, a conversation, you know what I'm saying, a gesture of sort. I feel like that we need that.
Yeah.
We need that 100%.
Let's dive into that a little bit, for sure. I like that. So you said the humans need physical and emotional.
And emotional, yep. Yeah, because it's imagine like it's this movie about this couple that stays in a white box for 50 days, right? There's nothing in the box. It's complete. They have to wear the same clothes every day. There's no TV. They drink this bland food, right? You know, they get to a point where they're freaking out because the only people that they've actually been able to interact with, to touch, to deal with is like each other. That was one of the parts of like the mental parts, like even being in a padded room by yourself, you're gonna go crazy. You know, you need to feel like that there's something outside of yourself. You know what I'm saying? And then you can feel it and you can express it and you can see it. So it's like, yeah, I think, yeah, I know if I don't get a hug at least like once a day, I break down.
Yeah.
Or I
Seen
get
Castaway?
wall. Huh?
Castaway?
Is that the Tom Hanks or
Yeah,
something?
Tom Hanks movie where it was like
It's long ago, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
made a
distant in my
dog,
mind.
yeah, he
The
made a-
volleyball or something.
volleyball,
And he
yeah.
like named it because
Yeah.
he was like on a deserted island by himself, and I think to have some type of social interaction, he
Yeah.
created this volleyball into a character.
And then
Yeah.
the delusion of being on an island. It's like, this is a person now. Yeah, this is a person. It's like
Yeah.
it's like having pets. You know, people have emotional support animals because they'll freak out because they can't without having some type of companionship or having
Walter.
something to take care of. You know what I'm saying? Like I have a snake. When I went to school, actually I kicked out of school for for having a snake. This is my third one. I was just going through a very depressive time. I was going to like a predominantly white women's college. They were like going in on me on some crazy stuff, and I got a snake. And it was the best feeling that I had since I've been there, because I could hold this snake and it sits in my hand and it's warm and it'll ball up and kind of hug me. I could learn it. I could see it. It was low maintenance. You know what I'm saying? So I'm still taking care of something because it's the need to give me up every day for me to actually do something, to actually want to breathe and walk and you know what I'm saying? Exactly. You know, something more than myself at least.
Yeah, I think it's important for people to have like a pet in their life, especially at a young age or something to want to like take care of or have to take care of or whatever. Yeah, I think that's important.
Yeah, I like that. It's like as kids, it probably gives you I guess, realization of caring for something other than yourself.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
naturally kids are like, me, you know?
Right, mhm.
But it gives them that.
Back to the point of relationships, I think some people
Yeah.
never actually had pets growing up, and then they utilize people as pets. You know, I hear times where
Nice segue.
so that's what I do. You hear times where there's like older women and they have young dudes, and then the dude is like
The boy
on the
toy,
couch
that's
or whatever
the-
playing
Yeah.
the game.
She
and
just
whatnot.
feeding them all
And
day.
then when
Oh,
he,
yeah.
and then when he
She feeding them all day. It's crazy.
Yeah.
when he strives for more or wants more out of life, and that's when the dynamic of the relationship kind of shifts or changes because you know it's like a boy toy, a pet of some sort. You know what I mean? So you know, you had said something in regards to people go crazy if they don't get a hug or that intimacy from someone else, another human. I really feel as though you can't truly love someone until you love yourself. So if you can't have those deep conversations with yourself, that self-love, that I love myself, I am great, you can't exude that to other people. You can't give that off to other people. I
But
think
what
it's
does
impossible.
that look like though? You're saying give off love.
Oh, sure.
What is it that you're giving the person once you figured out how to love yourself?
In my experience, I feel as though certain things are frequencies. People say vibes and vibrations, right? You have love, hate, like, dislike, and upon that scale, it goes from low to high, right? So when you have self-love for yourself, you exude a specific type of energy that other people in their radio frequency can pick up. And when they pick that up, you guys automatically click. And then it's like a connection automatically. Or it could be going in the opposite way. So some people like, I don't like that person's energy. It's something that
Yes,
they
that
feel.
they feel.
You know what I mean? It could be a depressive energy that they feel from a person that totally turns them off. Again, my perspective is it starts with self first. Once you have healing and love within yourself, you exude a specific type of frequency that other people can innately pick up.
And then too, also, I feel like you're also giving people the space to learn how to love themselves as well. By loving yourself, you show other people how to love themselves, because now I can love you a certain type of way because I already took the time to love myself. Even the way of just how, even in the same sense, if I talk highly of myself all the time and you're my friend and you say something, whether it's a joke or not, and that's not highly of yourself, every time you do it, I'm gonna say, don't talk about my friend like that. So now instead, like in your head, every time you're about to say something negative about yourself, you're gonna think of your friend being like, don't talk about, because you wouldn't talk about me like that, and I wouldn't talk about you like that. So it's about also teaching people when you're able to really say like literally like say I love myself, hug yourself, touch yourself, and feel that you're able to love yourself. You can give that back off to other people and show them, or just attract the people that love themselves as well. Because I feel like the goal of understanding you then is to now help other people understand themselves as well. I feel like there's no reason to have the ability to know and not help other people know and understand. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like people that are teachers, or because I went to school to be a teacher, or people that are in a foster care system, or people that work with underprivileged children. They know that they have the opportunity to be so much more than what they may know. They all just need to learn how to love themselves versus their situations. It's, again, the survival versus love. You know what I'm saying? Teaching you how to love yourself so that when you look in the mirror, you feel better, so you don't feel like the environment outside. You can live in the projects all day, but you standing in front of that mirror telling yourself that I'm going to be the best version of myself, you're going to feel that in a week, in a month, in a year, you're going to walk with that, and that's going to be an entirely different energy. I didn't help kids do that before, you know, and it's the most amazing thing to see a 10-year-old before and meet them as a 15, 16-year-old later on along the lines, and they taking the stuff that I tried to help them with, and they love themselves, they're being who they are, they took it serious. So it's like, yeah, you know.
Yeah. I got too far. I'm going to go here and then I'm going to go here. So with you talking about how you wanted to be a teacher, I can definitely see that being your nature. I remember it had to be 2020. You had a party. It was your birthday party. It was at a house somewhere.
Yeah.
And it was a bunch of people there. And you were trying to explain to everyone how to play a game. And it was a bunch of men. And they all sat quietly and listened to you explain the rules of the game at this party. And I was so amazed.
I
So
remember you telling me that.
I was just like, wow. Because everyone's drinking and whatever, but it's like when you talk, people listen because they know that what you're saying is important, and even like here, like you prepared, and you know you just speak very intelligently. So that's your nature, and I like talking to you.
Thank you. I like talking to you.
Yes,
That's why I'm
thank
glad
you.
to be here, because I don't always get a chance to actually like talk how I want to talk to people. You know what I'm saying? Usually it's quick, fast, 30-second elevator conversations, but you know, I live for moments like this.
Okay, and I'm gonna come back to you now, because I completely agree on the importance of loving yourself and the vibe that you put out and all of that. And also, I don't want to say but, and also going back to the human nature of things, like regardless if you love yourself or not, we still have that desire for connection and for intimacy. So people do still a lot of times get together in situations where it then becomes like codependency or becomes, you know, these negative interactions in relationships.
But
So
see, I don't feel like codependency is negative.
you don't?
No, which
Let's
is
talk
weird.
about it. Let's explore.
I don't think codependency. I feel like it's always about like there's balance to it. You know, like I feel like when you're in a relationship, especially if you're dating to marry, that person becomes your partner. That person becomes your business partner. That's your left hand, your right hand. That's the person that watch your back and you watch their back. So for me to be able to, you know, like maybe I'm thinking about it in a different sense because maybe codependency is not being able to do stuff without that other person, but even the magnetism of knowing that like I would rather and I want to only do this with this person. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause I don't know. For me, when I get in a space or even a relationship that I'm in now, I'm like, look, I'll sit in the crib with you all day because we working. We're getting stuff done. I don't need to go nowhere else. I'm not worried about going nowhere else. You know, like you can move without me and I can move without you for sure. But I would prefer to move together as often as we can. You know.
I heard this quote one time. It said, "You don't belong to me. You belong with me."
Yeah,
So it's like
exactly.
just your company is
never above,
pleasurable.
never below,
Yeah.
always equal.
Yeah,
Like,
and I view that more as partnership. You know what I mean? And I do think that things tend to be yin yang, like complementary, even in, you know, friendships and different things. And codependency, I think, is a little more like, let's say, I don't know. It kind of feeds into like negative needs that you have.
Okay.
Like, let's say I'm involved with someone who has anger issues, and they have the need to express that anger, and I now present someone for them to do it to, right? But then I have the need to want to build people up and want to fix people. So now we're cycling and we're codependent on that
I've definitely
need.
been in one
You know
of
what I
those.
mean?
That shit is crazy. Never mind. I take that back.
When you spoke about it, two unhealed people get into a relationship, the first word that popped up in my mind was trauma bonding.
Yeah.
Because you were describing trauma.
For
you know
sure,
what I mean?
yeah,
Anger
yeah.
issues and need to build people up and things of that nature. The trauma bonding is an interesting thing. That's all.
Oh, that's all.
I was gonna go into a tangent, but go ahead.
But
No,
then also-
that's what we're here
but also,
for.
that goes back to the survival mode kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? You trauma bond because this is what's comfortable for you, or this becomes comfortable for you. And then even going back to the codependency, because I've been in a relationship where like it was completely different than anything that I've ever experienced. Like completely different. I come from a very loving, a very peaceful, a very chill, cool, calm, collected environment. It was everything but that, you know. And I always, even now, I ask myself, you know, why didn't I leave? Even at the first instance, because, you know, we all get in situations, or we think when we get in situations, we're going to be like, oh, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do this, because I'm going to, and then you find yourself in that situation, and it's literally like you're being latched onto a person that's comfortable taking from you. You know, you think that you're pulling something back or getting a piece of yourself back, and that person is just like taking from you. And I found myself asking like, dang, like, why didn't I just leave? Why didn't I just this, that, and the third? But there was such a yearning for me with potential of people and wanting to help people that I found myself already sucked into the goal of helping this person and making this person, not even making, but hoping that this person is in the place that I want them to be in. Or even being like, okay, I'll wait for it. I'll wait for you to be that person. I'll wait for you to show up like this. I'll wait for you to stop doing that. And in reality, it never came. And unfortunately, with trauma bonding and with codependency, those situations usually don't end until like there's a big bang. There's a reason to where either somebody else has to get involved to end the situation, or like, you know, it's just something just happens to where it just ends, you know. But yeah. That was
You brought up an interesting topic. I think a lot of people need to experience some form of therapy before they start getting into relationships. And how I was able to get into therapy, I utilized, you know, magic mushrooms and things of that nature, different psychedelics. And what ended up happening is it allowed me to remove a veil, essentially, that I thought, you know, how do I explain it? You know, the door there, and then I open the door and I'm like, oh wow, I didn't know. I thought I had to think like this because I'm from this city. I have to think like this because my family interacts like this. Anger and fighting is the norm. I'd have to be this way. You understand what I'm saying? So now it comes to a standpoint where through those therapeutic moments, I'm now leading my family, breaking generational curses, and they're looking at me inadvertently like, whoa, I didn't know. You know, they can't even verbalize
even
what they see. You
understand
understand what I'm saying? But it's like it takes a how do I say a certain level of jumping out the window. We were talking about zodiac signs. I'm an Aries, which is essentially the baby of the zodiac. You know, if there's going to be any zodiac that's going to jump out of an airplane and skydive, it's going to be an Aries. And you know, my kid's mom, she's an Aries as well. We both skydived for one of her birthdays.
cool.
That's so cool.
You know, and jumped out of. We saw Baltimore like thousands of feet up in the air. You know, and that's what I believe is the same experience with psychedelics, you know what I mean? It started with LSD, and I'm crawling on the floor. I'm like, and, you know, you love that experience. You do it more. It's like you chase it. Now you're chasing the high. But the way the magic is set up, you can't be like, you know, I guess some people have it genetically. They could be zombies. But in my experience, it allowed me to gain more and more and more knowledge and wisdom. You know what I mean?
But it's about the intention as well.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Some people use magic mushrooms for other things. For me, like I do roomies very rarely. You know what I'm saying? Because I think one of my last trips, I asked myself, I was like, I want to feel this experience without having to do it. I want to think this way without having to do it. And I think like during my trip, I just kind of subconsciously left some type of door open, but it's about your intention when you're going into it to either deep dive into yourself to understand what's going on and how can I change, you know, whatever's going on, or even just like, am I just exploring the world? Am I, because for me when I'm on shrooms, I realize that I'm just a baby. You know what I'm saying? I realized that shut up. I realized that, you know, everything, the understanding of everything is so new in so many moments, and it's so quick. And it's like I'm relearning how to do this. I'm relearning how to think about this. I have little moments when I'm like, oh yeah, this means this and this means that. I'm like, I knew that, but I may not have known the steps that got there. But it's literally like a refresher in a sense. Like, but some people just do it to do it as well. It's just like, oh yeah, I just want to be high, so I'm gonna just kind of zone out, versus being like, I'm actually trying to use this to
grow and learn.
You know what I'm saying? 'Cause that's what it's for. That's, you know what I'm saying?
Sure,
It's to
Healing.
Yeah, literally.
I wanted to, I don't know if we have enough time to go on my last topic, but we were talked about relationships for a little bit. And I've been watching this show called Couples Therapy on Showtime. Has anybody seen it?
I've seen like 1 or 2
Yeah, it's
episodes
pretty
of it.
cool.
Yeah.
They have a bunch of different couples, and they're really literally in therapy, and it's just showing, you know, what's going on and things. But the common trend led the therapist to say, humans are not a monogamous species. So I wanted to explore that as human nature and y'all's thoughts on that.
I mean, it's like, what, 7 billion people on the planet?
Yeah, there's a lot of people.
Yeah, let's be for real, bro.
think,
Like, everybody talk about soulmates and love and this, that, and the third. It's like, you can have a soulmate somewhere that you've never been before. You know what I'm saying? So, but I do feel like it's more of a choice. You know what I'm saying? If you choose to be monogamous to somebody, then you should hold on to that agreement, because that's what that is. You know what I'm saying? That's an agreement for you to hold that. But I don't know. I don't really think that it's like a set in stone. Yeah, like it's
What about gentlemen?
What did they elaborate on the show? Did they say anything?
Well, I mean, if as they go through the different sessions with the different couples, I mean, kind of the trends are infidelity, or like people exploring open marriages and just open situations, and they've been together for, you know, a lot of times 7 years plus, whatever. But it just seems that the trend is always at some point to have desire for other connections other than just one.
I mean, I'm not gonna say polyamory doesn't make sense, because it does. You know what I'm saying? It's in reality, it's like a thing about a 3-parent household. You know what I'm saying? It's you know, two like, because polyamory is when there's usually a male and then 2 women. So it's just like
No, polygamy.
polygamy. You know what I'm saying? So it's thank you. But You know, it's in reality, it's like these are three people that's working and, you know, taking the time like that's building all of this together versus just be like, okay, it's me and you and we're fumbling between our two checks to do this, that, and the third. It's like, all right, but it's three people taking care of one household. And then on top of that, it's just like, not to say that one person can't always meet your needs, because I'm not going to say that, but it just makes it, I feel like it makes it a little bit easier. You know what I'm saying? If I like you and me and you can go on dates and get our nails done because he doesn't like that, then we can do that. If y'all like to chill and watch scary movies and I want to be by myself, y'all can do that because it's still a form of kind of like being able to still be satisfied. Because I think that's why people cheat. In reality, they're unsatisfied, whether that's with the sex, whether that's with the conversation, whether that's with the activity. There's a type of satisfaction that they're not getting from somebody. So like,
And I think society holds people to like very strict standards when it comes to monogamy and stuff like that. That's a lot of pressure.
But that's the contract,
It's
though.
not, yeah, it's not like a conscious like, oh, I want to do this forever. It's
Yeah.
like now there's a contract and there's a bunch of people involved and it's a whole thing that makes it pressurized and it's like you feel trapped even though you're not. You know what I'm saying? It's like a feeling of being trapped. That I think
Like, this is what we have to do.
Yeah, as opposed to like this is what I want to do. You know what I'm saying?
When I mean, again, going back to like the human nature of needing intimacy and needing connection, physical and emotional. I think in all of the relationships, at least on that show, all of the people had gotten to a point where they were not having that anymore in the other person.
But then
So-
also that could be you running out of like all this sounds like drugs. You know what I'm saying? Like
It
codependency,
don't work
like
anymore.
yeah, or even just needing someone
need
like
a new
yeah,
high.
stimulating you, getting high, and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a
But
person
I mean,
could
so
be a
then what do you
drug.
do then? What if you agree
You gotta
to
just
spend
go
your
back
whole life
to-
with someone and now you're like,
Go back to square one.
You got to go back to square one, right? Like there's people who wean themselves off drugs, and I think love is a crazy ass drug. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
No,
and
for
there's-
sure.
And some people get addicted to that to the point where they just want hits all the time, hits all the time, like.
And then it's
Oh,
not
yeah.
hitting.
And it's
then
not hitting,
no
yeah.
more,
So they just want to go somewhere else and
Yeah.
get more hits. But like, that's why I think like, yeah, weaning yourself over love. Just
You gotta-
like
you gotta
balance
just, um,
everything. Yeah, like everything can be, like self-love is also being able to let go too. You know what I'm saying? Self-love is being able to be alone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sometimes like a lot of those things can just distract you. Love can just distract you from yourself. You're not doing any self-work. You're just in love.
Facts,
You know what I'm
though.
saying? Like, yeah, like,
though.
and then when it's gone, yeah. And that's the same thing with drugs, too. You can just high or whatever, you know?
yeah. I don't want to go too much down that because I definitely want to talk about that on the next episode for sure. But I don't know, just adding some food for thought to that. I think it's natural for people to have certain desires and certain fluctuations in relationships, and it just seems interesting.
And you
I'll
can, like,
say.
spread, too, what you love and where.
Well, that's what I'm
your
saying.
love
All
goes
this love in
and-
my heart.
Balance. Like,
Yeah.
that's the way you put into your partner. You can fall in love with your best friend.
Yeah.
Fall in love with the relationship with your mom. Like,
Yeah, love in all different situations. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
got this big
Or your
heart. Why
art.
can't I have two boyfriends?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm joking. Look at my man. See this? Look, I'm good.
But no, I think that's important too because the need for connection doesn't just extend romantically per se.
There's a lot of things.
And people don't
Especially
think about
now,
that a lot,
like
though.
on the internet, it's people in love with their chat rooms and people in love with, you know what I'm saying?
People
all
love their
kinds of-
phones. People
Yeah.
in
Their
love
phones,
with,
yeah.
You know.
But I don't feel like people like cherish or hold to the same weight like the love of other people that they do to their significant other, and I think that they should. You know what I'm saying? Because the way I compare stuff, I'm like, my best friend wouldn't do me like that. Why would I accept that from some dude that's telling me that they love me? You know what I'm saying? My mom wouldn't carry it like this, or somebody that I realized didn't love me treated me like this. Why would I accept this from somebody else as well? So I don't think I think everybody kind of puts levels to it in reality. But for me, it's like when I love somebody, I love somebody. I'll do the same stuff for you that I'll do almost the same stuff for you that I'll do for my man because I love you. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna show up in the same ways. I'm gonna do like my best friend, that's my girlfriend on the low. You know what I'm saying? Because we give each other a certain type of love because we know the things that we both been through and we know the things that people have taken from us. So it's like with knowing that, it's like I love you so much to one, never put you through that or never accept somebody putting you through that and then giving you the love that I know that you don't get. You know, it's like a whole deeper thing. I put as much time into like my
The more we
platonic
say-
relationships.
The more we say the word love, it's like attention. You know? It's like because it's like not even love, but just like or care.
Cares. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
I just feel like,
give a fuck about
yeah,
somebody.
you give a fuck. Yeah, like,
Facts.
and also like, if the person that's saying they love you but they're not caring, then it's kind of like.
For me, then that's not love. Like if
Yeah.
because you can say you love me all you want. You know what I'm saying? You could love me how you think you're supposed to love me. You not loving me the way that I need to be loved. And I'm not gonna say that's not love, but that's not what I need.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can do that all day. If I'm asking you to pick blueberries and you picking strawberries, like yeah, you picking, but you're not doing what I need you to do. Yeah, it's like what's the point? What's the point?
Yeah,
What's the
like
point?
it's not directed towards my benefit or our benefit or
It's just doing it. You're just doing it just to do. You just I love you,
Yeah.
but you tell me I ain't shit every day, and I told you if you love me, you stop doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
It goes back to the whole nature and nurture and survival and just the way the people learned love, I guess, or lack thereof.
or the lack thereof,
For sure.
or even what they like you said, learn because love is. You know, I think it's really the definition of what you think love is. Everybody has
It's
their own,
individual,
yeah, everybody has their own definition of love. And when you get into relationships with people, it's always kind of best to find people that love the way that you love. It's not like you can't teach somebody else how to love you. Like, that's not impossible. But I don't know, for me, it's a lot easier when I go into any type of relationship, understanding that we love a similar way. You give the same way I give. You take the same way I take. You need and you act very similar, so I can understand that. You know, it just makes it make more sense versus me loving somebody that thinks left about it and I think right about it. And it's like we're always going to be missing something from it. You know what I'm saying? Because again, I could be loving you as hard as I can, and the way that you think about it, the way that you perceive love is just hitting a brick wall. You know.
I just believe that before you get into a polyamorous or polygamous relationship, you have to unlock the partner that you actually have first. And to do that, you have to learn their love languages. You have to learn aspects deeper than just sexual connection. I was doing research on polyamorous and poly lifestyles, like on Facebook chats and whatnot. And some of the stories I was getting, back was like, yeah, I went over and the girl was like, oh, I had sex with this dude and his girlfriend, then she kicked me out. And then I'm like, this is not resource building. This is not tribal building. This is not healthy dynamics. It sounds
People
like
just having sex.
Yeah, it's
random
literally
sex.
a lot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? So I feel as though marriage and relationships are actual conscious choice. You know what I mean? You actually making a conscious choice to put the work in with this individual. And through that work, you'll learn things about that person. Does this person actually complete, the other half of my heart? You know what I mean? It's going to be work. You know what I mean? It's definitely going to be work in a marriage, but are you willing to sacrifice for that individual? And that's the true essence, I believe. Go back to that vulnerability with love. Again, you have to learn that person. It is a cheat code, because they'll tell you, hey, this. And like, no, you don't. I know what's good for you. Now I've been in situations like that, and that's like mind blowing. Like, stay away from me.
Those piss me off the most. I ain't even gonna hold you. It's like, no, I hear what you're saying, but nah. And it's like, what do you mean? No, I'm telling you exactly what I need you to do so that I can be happy, because I'm not making you happy. So you're just gonna tell me that I don't deserve what I want to be happy, to feel what I need to feel.
No, what they're saying is I can't give it to you.
No, pretty much.
Okay. Well, yeah, this has been a real dope conversation on relationships, because again, it's human nature to want to be social, to want to connect with others, and I think it's very important, like you said, to spend time by yourself, to get to know yourself, and to have that self-awareness. But we're also ultimately gonna still be social creatures. So yeah. All right. Well, that's all I got for today, y'all. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, y'all. Appreciate it.
My name is D Roc. I want to shout out Psych 101, Lilith Rose, and of course, RVA Boombox. Let's talk to him for a minute. Yeah. We talk a lot about relationships. I figured I'd tell my story, Thank y'all for rocking with me. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Richmond, what up? Yeah. Live from Milan, we took pics on the lawn. So many shopping bags that it probably break your arm. We just popping tags, baby girl, I mean no harm. Took 6 months and now they eating out my palm. I'm getting cocky now, they asking if I'm poly now. Nah, baby, but I'm probably out of town in the foreign with forming relationships with bosses and owners that's really taking risk. No cap, I was falling, thinking back to my bitch from New Orleans, or was it just Baton Rouge? I dropped the chick as soon as she started acting rude. Broken heart turned me into a savage dude. As I reminisce, falling in love ain't really had no benefits. First the love was limitless. Broken promises turned you to my nemesis. Like how the fuck I'm falling when all this money calling? Yeah. Yeah. I know we all been there before. Yeah. Uh-huh. The mistrust led to the disgust. A whole lot of problems we ain't get to discuss. Not to mention the tension when dollars coming in flux. So did the dollars change us, or was I just brainless when I became famous? But either way, the drama, I don't need today. Everything is Gucci, that's what my sneakers say. Only God could judge me, that's what the preacher say. I was down bad, guess I need to play less games with you. Realizing ain't the same with you. As I reminisce, falling in love ain't really had no benefits. Guess it was the negligence, guess it was expensive gifts that kept you around. Play in the circus, end up with a clown. I wasn't falling, you was weighing me down. But how the fuck I'm falling when all this money calling? Yeah. Again, my name D Roc. Check me out. RVA Boombox. Richmond, thank you for having me. Psych 101.